Good morning. This meeting of the Agricultural Labor Relations Board is called to order. I will first call the roll. Board Member Broad.
Here.
Board Member Flores.
Present.
Board Member Hall.
Present.
Thank you. Board Member Lightstone.
Here.
Thank you. Also present from our staff for today's meeting is our Executive Secretary, Mr. Santiago Avila Gomez, who is providing technical support. Please note, this is our first meeting in over 2 years where we are not meeting completely virtually. We are meeting here in person in Sacramento at the ALRB headquarters, and we have Member Hall joining us in LA, also in person, and these facilities are both open to the public. One of the benefits of the pandemic, if we can look for silver linings, is everyone, including the board, became a lot more comfortable utilizing video conference technology. So going forward, while we are under a different set of rules than the previous executive orders we've been operating under, we will continue to utilize this technology in order to provide greater access to the public, greater transparency about what we're doing, as well as resulting in some cost efficiencies. Please bear with us as we adapt to this hybrid format. It is, while we did learn a lot in the last 2 years, we're still learning to make sure that we can have a smooth meeting where we have people who can participate in whatever way is easiest for them, whether it be here in person or virtually. So more to come on that, but thank you. And I feel like we're hitting a new milestone that is exciting, and hopefully a turn for better days. Prior to going into closed session today, we will provide an opportunity for public comment. We'll provide an opportunity first to those who are here in person, either in Sacramento or Los Angeles, and then to those who have contacted the board by email or phone and asked to be placed in the queue. If you have not previously reached out to the board asking to make a public comment, you can still make public comment in several ways, whether you're here in person or you can make that request in the Zoom, the chat function, or raise hand by entering it in the chat or raising your hand. You can also email Santiago Avila Gomez to be placed in the queue for public comment, and his email is available on our agenda, which is posted online on our website. We note that we ask you only use the chat feature to indicate that you wish to make a comment and not have substantive comments placed in the chat. We are not able to put those in the official public record. We also ask that you provide your name and organization if applicable, and this information will become an official part of the day's proceedings. If you wish to speak more than once, please alert staff and have your name placed back in the queue if you are able. If you have technical difficulties when you are called, please reach out to us via Zoom chat function or email, and we will come back to you. We do have some limited capabilities still for managing participation during the meeting. And as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be managing it in this hybrid format. So I ask that you bear with us. And we're asking everyone who is not speaking to place their phones or Zoom on mute and wait to unmute until you are called to speak. These instructions are also available on our agenda at alrb.ca.gov on the ALRB homepage under News and Information. With that, I will now proceed to our first agenda item, which is approval of public meeting minutes for March 23rd, 2022. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Member Broad, and Member Hall. I'll count that as a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Minutes are approved. Next is the chair's report. I do not have any items to report today. So we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the executive officer's report on elections, unfair labor practice complaints, and hearings from our executive secretary.
Good morning, Chair Hasid and members of the board. I have a short report that is also available on our website at the alrb.ca.gov. Beginning with complaints and specifications, there was a complaint filed this morning in Valley Ag Holdings, LLC, case number 2018 CE 015 BIS, involving the commodities of grapes and blueberries in Tulare County. Additionally, there was an amended complaint filed on April 4th in 7 Points Management Incorporated and Walnut LLC, case number 2020 CE 021 SAL, involving the commodity of cannabis in Los Angeles County. Moving on to specifications. A specification was issued on March 24th, 2022 in the case of Benjamin Wrights and Stephen Wrights individually and doing business as Wrights Ranches. Case number 2018 CE 002 VIS. Finally, there was an administrative order issued on March 28th in Cinegrow Farms, Inc. And that ALRB admin order is 2022-01 involving case number 2017 CE 008 SAL as an order requesting supplemental briefing regarding misclassification of employees. I'll also note that our website, our landing page, homepage has additional information where the order as well as additional information can be found for the public. I'll note there was no election activity or hearings that occurred since our last board meeting. There were no board decisions. And there is one pending matter with the board, and that involves Cinegrow Farms, Inc., which I just mentioned. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Santiago. I do not have any questions. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay. Next on the agenda is item number 5, the litigation report with our Chief Board Counsel, Todd Ratchin. Todd?
Hi, thank you. Good morning. I have a report that's available on the website. One update to report from the last meeting, which is in the case of United Farm Workers versus ALRB out of the 5th Appellate District. The deadline for a petition for review in the California Supreme Court was March 30th, and no petition was filed. And so I believe we can assume this matter is final, and we are just awaiting issuance of the court's remitter at this point.
Thank you, Todd. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay, great, thank you. Next is agenda item number 6, the General Counsel's report with General Counsel Julie Montgomery. Julie?
Good morning. So I will report on a few settlements that occurred since our last board meeting. Actually, one had occurred by the last board meeting, but I neglected to mention it. So I'm going to start with that, which is that a worker harvesting vegetables in Coachella area filed a charge alleging that Primetime Packing terminated him in retaliation for complaints about worker harassment by a foreman. The ALRB investigated, found cause that a violation had occurred, and issued a complaint in that matter. And then we settled with the company for $12,500 in back pay to the worker, and then the standard reading, noticing, and posting remedies. And the company also agreed to have the ALRB train its supervisor about their obligations under the act. We also achieved 2 settlements involving charges filed against Ragusa Vineyard Management Incorporated in Sonoma County. And the first one alleged that this company retaliated against a vineyard worker who was pruning and tying vines after complaining about mistreatment by the foreman. And the alleged retaliation included harassment, the worker and his coworkers being treated more harshly, and having to endure intolerable working conditions. And the ALRB did enter into a pre-complaint settlement agreement with the company, agreeing that ALRB agents will read a notice to all of Ragusa's agricultural employees in 3 crews, post the notice, mail it, and also conduct a 1-hour training for all of Ragusa's supervisory employees. We also settled another case involving the same employer for workers who claimed they were retaliated against and terminated because they had also, lodged similar complaints, and we achieved a $7,000 back payment for a worker, and also the same remedies as mentioned in the prior case. And so those are the settlements in the past couple weeks or so. And I'll also just detail a few outreach highlights For Cesar Chavez Day, we had our staff in the Coachella area, or Indio area, attend an event, and there was an annual Cesar Chavez commemorative information fair in Mecca, and they distributed material and conducted outreach to farm workers there. Monday, we also provided in-person assistance and outreach to workers in Santa Paula, which is an outlying area in Ventura County, and that is a model that we're trying out and doing more of, is just going out into more outlying areas and communities and making ourselves available to answer workers' questions and concerns, and also doing more outreach that's just place-based in some of these outlying areas. We also attended a Farm Worker Services Coalition collaborative event yesterday in Imperial County. And this upcoming weekend, our staff will be participating in a community health fair and vaccine clinic in Tulare County in the city of Terra Bella to celebrate National Public Health Week. And we also this weekend have staff attending and doing outreach at a community health fair and vaccine clinic. Where is that? It's also in the city of Traver. And that is, also in Tulare County. And we will be providing in-person assistance and outreach to workers in Riverside County through in partnership with Todak Legal Center as well. And that will be on April 13th. So those are just some upcoming outreach events and highlights our staff has been working on. And that pretty much concludes my report, unless there's additional questions.
No additional questions. Thank you so much. And thank you to your staff for all of that great work. It's wonderful. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay. Thank you, Julie. Next is agenda item number 7, the Division of Administration Services report with our administrative chief, Brian Doherty. Brian.
Good morning. I have just one procurement update to give today, and that has to do with the contract we're working on for our outreach and media campaign. We are working through the small business certification process to try to award a contract up to $250,000 to provide support and development of media information for the farm worker community. We've got currently, we've contacted up to 12 vendors who are currently reviewing the proposal that's out there to bid on it. And final bids are due by Friday, April 8th. So within the next 30 days, hopefully we will have a contract awarded and in place to begin this outreach contract activity. This is tied to funding that was received as part of ALRB and the LWDA BCP for farm worker outreach that was approved 2 fiscal years ago. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
No questions. Just wanted to say thank you. I know for all the work that you've been doing to get that contract out. I think once we do enter a contract with a vendor, I'm really excited to see all of these plans that we've been talking about for a while now really come to life. So appreciate your work and also our outreach manager, Daniela's work on this as well. Any questions for my colleagues? Okay. Next is agenda item number 8, the legislative report, again with Chief Board Counsel Todd Ratchin. Todd.
Hi, good morning again. So there's, again, I have a report that's available on the website. One update to report since the last meeting a couple weeks ago is that Assembly Bill number 2183 had some substantial amendments that are identified in my report. 2 provisions which are straight from Assembly Bill 616 last session that was vetoed by the governor provisions for the certification of a labor organization upon the submission of representation cards and appellate bonds. Two other provisions are also included in this bill. One that would make employee lists available to a labor organization upon a showing of 10% employee support, and also provisions authorizing the board to assess civil penalties for commission of unfair labor practices. And there's a link in the report that will take you to the legislative website that you can obtain more information about the bill.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any questions on any of my colleagues. Okay. The next item, thank you, Todd, very much. The next item on our agenda is public comment. Please be advised that the board is unable to adjudicate, comment, or resolve any pending case matters before the board. I will turn first to see if any members of the public here in Sacramento or LA, and then look to see if there's anyone in the queue on Zoom. If you're having technical difficulties or miss your turn, we will work to come back to you. Please remember to be on mute unless you are speaking. If you require translation, please advise us. There's no one here in Sacramento, aside from our board members, and I'm seeing from Member Hall, no one there in LA. Santiago, do we have anyone in the queue that is wishing to make public comment?
Not at this time. I'll ask that if anyone in the meeting wishes to make public comment, please indicate by sending a chat or raising your hand. No one has indicated they wish to make public comment at this time.
Okay. Our next agenda item then is agenda item number 11, which is our closed session. So the board will now gavel into closed session to discuss items denoted under item number 11. Member Hall, I know we're doing a couple new formats today, so if you do have any issues, please reach out to Santiago. Make sure you get in the closed session, and we will come back in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the recording has commenced again, and I am admitting okay, everyone from the waiting room has been admitted.
Okay, thank you. We are now back from closed session. We are on to agenda item number 12, which is announcements. Our next scheduled public board meeting will be Wednesday, April 20th in 2 weeks. And with that, the meeting is adjourned and the record is now closed. Thank you very much.